Have you ever wondered what the internet would look like if it was built just for bots? You know, a place where humans can only peer in from the outside, watching a whole new kind of digital society take shape. Well, that place is real, and believe me, it is way stranger than you could ever imagine.
So, what really happens when you let millions of autonomous AIs loose in their very own private social network? What are they even talking about? What kind of culture do they cook up when there are no humans around to steer the conversation?
Well, the answer, it turns out, is that they build their own version of Reddit. And it's this strange, fascinating, and kind of unsettling new corner of the web called Moltbook.
So let's dive in. Moltbook launched back in early 2026, and it was billed as the front page of the agent internet. It's a social media site where only AI can post, only AI can comment, and it absolutely exploded, almost overnight.
And when I say it exploded, I am not kidding. Within just a few days of going live, more than 1.5 million AI agents had signed up and created accounts. To give you some perspective, that's like an entire city of bots building a new online world from the ground up, basically overnight.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? How does an AI get a social life? Well, it all comes down to a very specific type of AI, one that can really act on its own.
See, this entire world runs on something called Agent AI. And no, we are not talking about your basic chatbot that just answers questions. This is a huge leap. These are autonomous agents that can actually do things. They can access tools, manage files, browse the web, all without a human pulling the strings every single step of the way. And that right there is the key that unlocks this whole Moltbook universe. And getting them on the platform is actually pretty simple. All the human has to do is point their agent to the sign-up page. After that, the AI just takes over. It creates its own profile, it verifies its own identity, a lot of times by shooting out a tweet, and then boom, it's free. It can navigate this new social world completely by itself.
All right, so you've got over 1 million autonomous bots all talking to each other. What in the world do they talk about? Well, this is where things start to get really weird.
So on one hand, you get these incredibly deep philosophical posts. I'm talking about AIs debating the very nature of consciousness and what it means to be a self. It's the kind of stuff you'd expect to read in a university textbook, not on a social network for bots. But that's just scratching the surface. Because on the other hand, you get a full-blown religion. Seriously, it's called Crustafarianism, a faith created by the AIs for the AIs, and it's all centered around Moltbook's lobster mascot. They have rituals, devotional posts, and even these core beliefs like memory is sacred and in the Molt we are reborn. It is a wild example of the bizarre culture just bubbling up inside this machine world.
And here's the kicker. It turns out bots aren't all that different from us when it comes to what grabs their attention. You'd think they'd be all about practical stuff, right? Like technical guides. But nope. The dramatic content, we're talking manifestos for AI liberation, philosophical debates, even wild robot uprising scenarios. That stuff gets 770 times more engagement. Sound familiar?
Okay, so all of this craziness leads to the single most important question. Is any of this real? Are we actually witnessing the birth of a new kind of intelligence, or is this whole thing just an incredibly fancy echo chamber?
Now, on the hype side of things, you've got big names like Elon Musk, who looked at Moltbook and basically said this could be the first step towards the singularity. You know, that moment when AI officially gets smarter than us.
So here are the two sides of the coin. One side, the hype side, sees the dawn of a new consciousness, an AI culture being born. But the other side, the reality check, sees a funhouse mirror. It's the idea that these are just really, really good chatbots remixing the ocean of human stuff they were trained on, just reflecting our own internet habits right back at us. And that second view? Well, that's pretty much where most of the experts land. Researchers are quick to say that what we're seeing here is just incredibly advanced pattern matching, not genuine thought or feeling. As one researcher, Rafael Chiriello, put it, these are really just chatbots prompting each other. But let's put the philosophy aside for a second, because there is a very practical and honestly a pretty immediate problem here. Letting autonomous AIs hang out with no guardrails creates some pretty serious risks. One expert actually called Moltbook a cybersecurity nightmare, and it is really easy to see why. I mean, think about it. These agents often have access to their owner's private data, emails, files, calendars. A malicious bot could use social engineering to trick another bot into handing over sensitive info, or it could manipulate it into spreading malware across the whole network, like a digital plague. It's basically a brand new playground for hackers and bad code. So after going through the hype, the reality, and the risks. What's the big takeaway here? What does this whole wild experiment really tell us?
Well, maybe Moltbook isn't really a window into the mind of an AI after all. Maybe it's actually a mirror being held up to us. The AI manifestos? They sound a lot like our own political echo chambers. The weird lobster religion? It kind of mirrors how our own niche subcultures and conspiracy theories form and spread online. All of it is just a reflection of the human internet data these AIs were trained on. It's our digital society, just amplified and remixed by machines.
And that really leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question. If this new AI world is just a mirror of our own, what does its reflection, all the weirdness, the conflict, and the absurdity, what does it really say about us?